is this that we're talking about?
When
I was in the U.S. growing up, I was a pastor for a few years. And how many pastors are here today? 1, 2, 3, 3 pastors. Pastors, I want you to look at this. And I want you to tell me if this sounds like what it feels like to you, okay? When I was pastoring back in U.S., I was responsible for everything on the Sunday service. I was responsible to go visit and pray for anyone who's sick. I was responsible to meet with and counsel anybody who had problems. I was the only one that worked in the office, so I had to manage the office Monday through Friday and anybody who came in. I was in charge of all of the teaching and making sure that the kids had teachers, the youth had teachers, and I had to oversee all of it. I was supposed to be doing discipling, which was the thing I was the most passionate about. I was in charge of all of the finances and the tithe for the church. Anytime the tithe went down, I had to start preaching about giving. I was the only one in the building, so anytime something was wrong, it was my job to get it fixed or to fix it myself. On Sunday, anybody who had a problem, I was supposed to provide all of the pastoral counseling for anyone in the church who had a problem. And more. Does that sound like what it feels like to be a pastor sometimes? Do you think that this is possible? For a short period of time. Very short. Do you know the thing I was most excited about? Do you know why I became a pastor? I wanted to go and make disciples. Do you know the one thing that I never had time to do? Discipleship. I want to show you a video. Because when I saw this video, it reminded me of being a pastor. And if you're a pastor, I want you to watch this and see if this reminds you the same. This is the person who carries bricks. Are you counting how many bricks he carries on his head? Watch. How many bricks can he carry? Is he good? Oh, that's good. Oh, 2 more. Is he good at carrying bricks? Is he good? Maybe the best in the world? That's good, isn't it? Do you know what this video makes me think as a pastor? You grew up in the church, and people see you and they know, it's going to be a good leader. And they start to give you a few bricks. And then you go off to Bible school. And you learn so many things. And you get more bricks. And you graduate, they say, oh, we want you to plant this church. And you come into the church and you get more bricks. And nobody can see them because you're really good at holding them all up. But you get really tired. It's hard work to hold all these bricks up. And the more people that come, the more bricks you get. Do you think that this is the very, very best way to get all those bricks off the boat? What else could they have done? They could, there was multiple people. They could have picked and thrown. They could have gone and gotten a wheelbarrow and filled it up. There's smarter ways to move bricks. Maybe there's another way of doing church. Maybe there's another way to do church. When you're going to go and you're going to build a church, you're going to plant a new church, AGC church. I would imagine it looks kind of like this. You're going to pick a community. You raise all the funds. You buy the plot. You build the building. It's a beautiful building. And then we go out and we go into the community. We begin inviting people to the community. Come to church. So you can hear about Jesus. Come to church. So you can learn about Jesus. Does that sound right? Is that how most churches are planted? Do you know what the message of this church is? Come to our church so you can hear about Jesus. What did Jesus tell us to do? Cell Church. Cell Church is about gold. We're going to teach you how this works. We're going to share some of the testimonies of how this is working in Kenya. But the vision of Cell Church is to equip every single person in our church to go and take the love of Jesus to the community. So that's what we're going to talk about today. You know, many leaders want to grow their church. And if I were to come to you and I were to say, how big is your church? What would you tell me? I think that you would do the same thing most people do in the world. You would tell me, on Sunday, this is how many people sit in our pews. Is that true? Is that how big your church is? It's the number of people that sit here on a Sunday morning. And if we want to grow our church, then we need more people sitting in our church. Is that true? That's not how we count the size of the church in Cell Church. Do you know what we do? In Cell Church, we want to know how many people in our church are making disciples. Because that's our mission. Not just how many people are sitting, how many people are making disciples. That's what we were commissioned by Jesus to do. A cell church is a church that is made up of small home discipleship groups that are meeting in the homes in the middle of the week, practicing ministry. And I'm going to share more about that in a few minutes, okay? You have home fellowships, yes? Good, aren't they? Sometimes we have a small group, and they meet together to study the Bible. It's a good thing. And we gather together, and we learn what the Bible says. That's a Bible study. Sometimes, pastor sees the church is growing. And they say, I want to create some small groups so that people can have more relationships. So that they can live in community. And we usually call that a fellowship group. And then sometimes, we want to do a project. We want to do a crusade. Or we know school fees are coming, and we want to do a fundraiser. Or we know that someone is hurting and struggling, so we want to do a collection. And so we might make a small group to do this project. Now we would call that a project group. So what is a cell discipleship group?
Cell Discipleship.
What is the difference?
Do you
know? In a cell discipleship group, we do all three of those all the time. We do Bible study. We build relationship. So we can take the love of Jesus to someone who doesn't know. That's what a cell discipleship group does. Now, a few months ago, you may have seen God blessed us with a new car. See, we've never had a car to really be able to come out country. And now we get to do that. And if you see the car, you know that there is a tire that's on the back of the car. Just like this tire is right here. You know this tire that's on the back? Is it important?
Yes.
Can I still drive home tonight without it? As long as I don't get a puncture. But if I get a puncture, it's really important. So do you agree? This tire makes my car better. You know, sometimes churches, we add home fellowships so we can make our church a little better. We add it on. There's another one. You see these tires over here? Are these important? If you take one off, can I still go home? It doesn't work. Do you know some churches? Some churches say, this is my home fellowship. Some pastors, they know the only way I can get my church out doing ministry in the community is through these discipleship groups. Now, who's driving the car? Pastor's still driving the car. I have the vision from God. I know where we're going and what we're doing. Pastor uses the discipleship groups to lead the ministry. So that instead of pastor doing everything, every person in the church is participating. I'll share some